Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Laz. Beautiful. So once again, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Palm Springs. Where to start? The beginning. In the beginning, I've chosen to use the Science of Mind text in a year as our guide for how we're going to move through the theme and the messages and the talks. We just completed using the book written by Dr. Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker called 365 Days for Richer Living. And I know that my life has been enhanced by using that material and working with it each and every day. And I know that the center and its operations and all that we do has been enhanced and increased and multiplied by using that 365 days. We had the most incredible annual pledge campaign that we've ever had. And on top of that, we opened up an Inspire campaign above and beyond the pledges, where we have already received over $10,000, and that is going to be matched by an anonymous donor in order for us to do some updates here in the center. So I know that this stuff works. We have proven it. We have brought it forth into form, into manifestation, into demonstration. And so we're starting out on this year, the year of 2012, because we know that as far as the Mayan calendar was concerned, this was the end of the world. And in our understanding, it is the end of the world as we have known it. And it is the time and the opportunity by which we get to create it, recreate it anew into something more spectacular, something more fabulous, something more magnificent. Now is the time. And we are the people, and this center is the place in which I know it begins. And we do it individually, and we do it collectively. And so if you've not yet received the program that tells you how to do this in a year, there, I believe, are some, if they haven't already been taken, and if they are, we'll get some more. There's a little pamphlet that gives you a paragraph, a reading, a page, every day of the year. Because trust me, if you pick up the Science of Mind textbook, this big thing here, and you try to read it from the beginning, from cover to cover, you probably will find yourself lost. You'll probably find yourself dozing off. You'll probably find yourself thinking, and what was he trying to say? Because in its revisions and its editing and its movement, it has taken on a little bit of a different form. But there's a way to do it, and Dr. Edward Viejo out of the Santa Rosa Center for Spiritual Living some years ago put this little program together and said, here's the way to read the Science of Mind text every day. A little piece here, a little piece there, and bring it together into a way that changes and transforms your life. And then as creative as he is, or someone who was working with him, they designed this in such a way that if you take it and you fold it up, it becomes this great little bookmark that you get to keep track of where you are as you're moving throughout the year. And then you just slip it into your book and you know where you're going to go. And so, yes, today's message was in that chapter 1, that begins with the words, in the beginning, God. Now, I had a little bit different take on it than Laz did, because when I saw that, I was like, well, wait a minute. If it's infinite and eternal, then there was no beginning and there is no end. So how can you start at the beginning when you're starting with God? And so then I started to read the next paragraph, and then I moved into that place, because that's where Ernest Holmes goes, is with all of the questions that have been asked and attempted to answer throughout millennium, throughout time. Humanity has been asking the question, how did we get here? What are we doing? Why are we even in this experience? If there's this infinite, eternal bliss of understanding and knowledge that says all is well, why on earth would we want to go through the stuff that we put ourselves through? Think about that for just a second. Not any longer, just a second. Because, see, you could get yourself caught up into that downward spiral of, why is this happening? How is this happening? Did God do this to me? And I don't want us to go there, because we no longer have to do that. Because the world is coming to an end, as we know it. And we're going to recreate, renew, rededicate. I love that word that you use. Rededicate ourselves to the life, to the purpose of living. This is how I understand it. And I'm just explaining how I understand it, because I don't know what other people are thinking. I don't know what the other experiences are. I don't know what some of the other individuals around the world are trying to create or recreate. In fact, it's none of my business. I have plenty to do with my own life and my own experience. I don't need to be bothering into somebody else's stuff. I have plenty of stuff on my own. Thank you very much. Yeah. And so what I try to do is I try to simplify my life. I try to get rid of as much stuff as I possibly can. And what I've discovered is that no matter how much I try to get rid of it, more comes in. What's that all about? This idea that it increases and multiplies every time I give it away back out into the universe. It increases and multiplies and comes back to me with even something greater good and more of it. And I'm like, whoa, how powerful this is. This idea that humanity has been individualized. It has been brought forth out of the beginning, out of the mind of God, out of the very essence and the nature of that which is infinite and eternal, and brought forth this thing called the human experience in order for itself. Call it God, call it Allah, whatever you choose to call it. But, call it the big it. Has created out of itself, because what else was there? In the beginning, God. That's all there was. There was no mechanical universe. There were no star systems and circling planets and orbiting moons and all sorts of things going on. There was just God in the essence and the nature of whatever it is. And out of that, it moved upon itself in its self-knowingness, in its magnificence, in its desire to have experience, said, wow, I am all-knowing and all-powerful, and I have the creative process available to me. I believe I can create. And out of that, we started having big bangs, and who knows how many there have been, and universes and parallel universes